So this is basically a part 4 of a follow-up video. I just published what I guess would be part 3, which was a high-level, non-technical overview of different publishing models. And I just discussed how the internet has kind of evolved from this sort of this sort of model with lots of attack vectors and this sort of publishing workflow, and is evolving into a model that looks more like this, where you publish directly to the IPFS network and then use the Bitcoin Cash blockchain as a domain name service for locating data. And so this video is going to cover is going to be a demo. I'm going to demo some of the tools that I have created to make this type of publishing easier. It's still not easy, but this is an improvement. And it was really born because I was creating the part 2. This this part that's strike through. It's this video here, creating uncensored content part 2. About halfway through shooting that video, I just realized, like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult that even a professional would have a hard time with this. And so I thought, man, I've got to create at least some basic tooling to make this process a little easier. So I did, and this is a demo on how to use it. And so let's jump in. Where's the code? That should be the first question. So there's really 2 tools that I'm going to demo today. The first one is the tool that you use to push content to I'm going to cover briefly, as I have in other videos, how to publish content to the IPFS network. And then the tool that I created that I'm going to show today is called Memo Push, and it's going to push your IPFS hash, which you get after you publish the data. You're going to publish that hash to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain, and you're going to do it in such a way that it's easy for people to retrieve using memo.cash. And it's important to keep in mind here that memo.cash doesn't matter. The data is going to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. Memo.cash is just a convenient user interface for checking your work. And anyways, this is what it's going to look like. This is a test account that I created, and I'm going to show you the private key for this account because I'm probably going to destroy it after this video. And these are what the updates look like. It updates the specific sort of command, and then followed by the hash, and so that's the Memo Push tool that I'm going to show you, and you can get that. Look at the code and the installation instructions by going to github.com/christroutner/memo-push. And then the other piece of software I'm going to demo today is the server software, and this is the thing that's actually serving up the web content, and it's going to monitor your Bitcoin Cash address that's attached to your memo.cash account. It's going to monitor the blockchain. Again, if memo.cash went away, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't affect this at all because it's actually talking directly to the blockchain. So the server is monitoring an address and detecting publishing updates, and then it will automatically pull the content down from the IPFS network and begin serving it in the conventional way that people who use web browsers and browse the internet have come to expect. So the power in this is really, there's 2 things. First of all, you're publishing in a decentralized way that is incredibly difficult to block. And second, you're not changing the user experience at all. Normal users don't have to do anything different. And that's also a very important feature. And so the code there lives in /koa IPFS blog. So blog is a way to get your thoughts on the internet. Koa is the web server. If you've ever used Express, which is a very common JavaScript framework for doing web servers, Koa is sort of the spiritual successor to Express. It's the next step. It's written by the same developer, just using more modern tools. If you've never heard it or you've never used it, but you have used Express, then don't be scared because they're very similar in terms of the developer experience. A lot of the knowledge transfers over, and of course IPFS is the interplanetary file system. And this is called Memo Push because it's publishing to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain using the Memo protocol. And so let's just jump in here to the demo. So there's about 5 steps. First of all, you need to set up a memo.cache profile. So you can do that by going to memo.cache. It's probably just going to auto-log me in. Yeah, it didn't, but this is what it looks like. It's pretty easy to sign up, and the way this works is it actually costs a little Bitcoin Cash. Everything from like liking to tweeting to replying costs Bitcoin, because every action is actually a transaction, and it's getting written directly to the Bitcoin blockchain, and you have to pay for that. And but it's a fraction of a cent. Like you can do several. I don't know how many. I haven't tracked it, but like on the order of like 10 to 20, I think, probably 10ish tweets or posts per penny. That's just I'm just kind of guessing. Ballpark figure. I don't really know. I just put $1 into this account, and it's hardly gone down at all with all these tweets. So that's that. So let me just dive right in here and show you the memo. Well, first of all, let's see. This is what the outline's for. Okay, so the first step would be setting up a memo.cache profile. I've already done that, and what you're going to get when you create it is, where is the account? Okay, if you go to profile, I'm just looking for, this is your Bitcoin Cash address here, but one of these will show you your Bitcoin Cash, the QR code, and it makes it really easy to fund. I think I saw it if I just went to memo.cache. Yeah, here we go. Set profile. Set name. Okay, scroll down. So here's my Bitcoin Cash account, and here's the QR code. So I could scan that and send money to it, and that's what I did. And so that's what you should do. Create an account, fund it with like $1. I mean, you could use as little as 10 cents. That's going to work just fine. And after you've done that, then you can go to your account and go to export your key, export your private key. And let's see, what did I set the password as? Yeah, blogtest01, and I set the password here. That's my password right there. Unlock this. Cool. Okay, so this is your private key in different formats. What you want right here is this WIF compressed format. That's the one we're after. And so that's the same as right here. I already saved it to this note file. So the way that you would set up memo.push or memo push, here it is right here. You would just you need to have Node or npm installed, which is the case for most of the software I develop, and you would just do this is Linux. If you're on a Mac, you don't need to do the sudo command. Npm install -g for the global flag, install globally, memo push. Now I've already done that, so I'm not going to run this command, but that will install memo push on your computer so that you can just access it as a command line tool like that. And so there's 3 commands. -h brings up the help, v is the version, so neither of those are very important. It's this -p where you publish the hash, but the last step in setting it up is you need to export your WIF as a environment variable. So the way you would do this on Mac or Linux is just like this. You copy this and paste it, and then it exports it. In fact, I think that is the right WIF, but I'm not going to run that. And then you'll be able to, you can check your work by going echo WIF, and the $sign there tells the computer that, hey, this is a variable. So I've already got my WIF imported, and so that's what lets this memo push command, that's the private key that it needs to know to publish data to your Bitcoin Cash account address. So that's in place. So now let's go back. I'm in this Gatsby starter markdown, which I showed In the first video, if you go back to part 1, I walked through how to set up a blog with Gatsby and Markdown. So I'm just going to go pretty quickly through this, but I'm just going to go run develop just so I can see what the state of it is. So that's running in developer mode. Okay, so that's what this looks like right now. So let's say that this is my website. This is what I want. Or actually, I'm gonna make a change. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, cool. So there, I changed the title, and there we go. Because we're in developer mode, this thing auto updates, so I can see the change right there. And awesome, I'm super happy with it. I'm going to publish it now, and so I'm going to build it, get it ready to publish. And I'm going to upload it to the IPFS network. Now I have my IPFS daemon running over here, so I'm connected to the network. And oops, where was I? I'm right here. So I'm going to go. Everything gets written to this public directory. So that's what I'm going to hash that and upload that to the IPFS network. So I'm going to go IPFS add recursive because it's going to go into the directory and hash that whole directory. And the very last hash is for the directory itself. That's what I want to upload. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go memo push -p the hash. I'm publishing the hash. And bam, okay, that's running. So that is how I just published the hash to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. Now if I go back to my memo.cash profile, I'll see that 16 seconds ago, just published it, and I can see if I double check, I can see this ends in QJD3 and QJD3, and so this has been uploaded to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain, and now anybody who goes to my profile or anybody who queries this address, and in fact it provides a few links. So this is the memo cache post that we just created. And then this is the link to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain explorer. So you can see that it is actually just a transaction. Here's the op return data. And the block explorer on bitcoin.com is sophisticated enough to detect that this is it's a transaction that follows the memo protocol, and it automatically decodes it. And so that's pretty cool. So that's just evidence that it's directly to the Bitcoin blockchain. Doesn't really depend on memo.cash. Okay, so we set up a profile, we got our WIF, and we created our initial website, and we published the hash to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. So that is this part of the diagram. We just did that. We uploaded the content and we uploaded the hash. And now I'm going to talk about the server software. So that would be this tool here. So we just covered memo push. Now I'm going to cover this Koa IPFS blog and repository. So going over here, what I can do is just let me go through the installation steps briefly. So you need Node and you need npm. You can follow these instructions to install it. Basically, you clone it, and then you go into the directory that it creates. You go npm install to install the dependencies, and then you run npm start, and you're off and running. That's all you have to do. There is one config setting that you need to change, and that is, so here's the Koa IPFS blog directory. It's in config env common, so it's a config setting in the environment directory under common, which gets applied to all of them. This is the port the server runs on. And then right here, you want to upload your own Bitcoin Cash address. I've already done that. You can see it starts with QQ34, which matches my memo.cash account, QQ34. That's the only thing that you need to configure this. And just heads up, this is sort of a this works, and but it's probably going to be changed rapidly in the future. There's a lot of things in here that it doesn't need. So at this point, I need to just start removing baggage. I need to remove things that this server is not going to use, and then I'll probably package it in a Docker container. But for now, let's just run it. npm start. So here's some of the information it says here. It's retrieving and serving this IPFS hash. So it went and detected the last, the most recent hash that was published to this account, which QJD3. So it just picked up on that latest push, downloaded it, and then started serving it on port 3210. So we can see this locally. If this was on a web server and not just my laptop, it would you'd probably pipe this out using something like Nginx or Apache. And but yeah, this is the blog, and this is the updates I made. I can see this little update I made. So let's say we want to update the blog. So okay, we found a typo, or it's a blog, so we want to add new content today. It's a new day. This server is just going to be up and running in the cloud, so I'm not going to touch this server because this is the software that would be running on the server, and I don't necessarily want to log in and update it every time I make a change to the blog. I want it to just it should automatically detect these changes and publish them. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go back into our website files, run in development mode to do live edits. And so this is still the server that's running. This is the development version. If I refresh, there we go. I'm just going to stick this guy over here. So this is a server over here on the left. This is our local computer with our development on the right. And so I've had a change of heart. This really isn't as cool as I thought it was, and I'm just going to let everybody know. So there we go. Okay, so just made that change. Good thing to clarify. So okay, I'm happy now. I'm ready to publish. So like before, I'm going to build it, and because the content changed, the hash is going to change, and that's the double-edged sword that I talked about in the previous video. Is okay. So I'm going to add this to IPFS. And again, I'm going to hash that public directory. So this is a different hash because the content changed. And because everything's hashed, when you pull content from IPFS, you are guaranteed that no one has tampered with it. You're guaranteed that the content that you're expecting to get is, in fact, the content you're getting. And that's the magic of this hash. But it also means that things are constantly changing, and you have to constantly keep track of this information of the new hash. And IPFS has this way of doing it called IPNS, and they're working on improving it, and they've done amazing work so far. And IPFS is still in alpha, so it's unreasonable to expect it to work perfectly. And IPNS is one of those things that I just don't think works very well. And it's also a very general solution, and in the specific use case of publishing, I think this method of uploading the hash to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain is much more efficient. It's certainly much faster. And more power to them. I want them to keep doing what they're doing. This is just another way of doing it. Scratches my itch. Hopefully it scratches yours too. So I've got that new hash, and now I'm going to publish it to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. Bam, there we go. And I can click on here to see this new hash. So now if we go back over and take a peek at our server and see what it's doing, I have this set to check every 30 seconds. So it actually already detected I mean, it was like that fast, and this wasn't local. It actually is monitoring the Bitcoin blockchain. Right now I have this set for 30 seconds for the demo, but I'll probably set this for 2 minutes. So if you publish, there could be like up to a 2-minute lag before your server updates. And you can set that however you want. That's just what I think I'm going to set the default to be. But you can see here it already detected the update. It shut down the server, downloaded the new content, and then restarted the server. And so, like I said, remember, this is the tab that is the server, and you can see it's got the old version, and if I refresh, there's the new version. And so that's the demo. You know, it's still technical, still complicated, it still needs work, but if you watch that part 2 video that I published, it got really ridiculous really fast. And this memo push tool is a huge improvement over all the manual stuff I did in that video. And then being able to run a web server that just automatically picks up on that update to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain, and then retrieves the data and automatically updates the server, so it's totally hands-off. I think that's a pretty big improvement. So hopefully people will start using this software. I'm going to keep working on this software and try and make it better. And feel free to reach out to me. You can always reach me at trout@bitcoin.com or at Chris Troutner on Twitter. And yeah, if you want to collaborate on this software, I would love it. I'd love it. Bring it on. And yeah, let's just roll through here. We went through all these steps. We set up our memo cache profile. We got the WIF, the private key for our account. We published the website. We set up the web server. And then I just showed how you can update your website, and the web server will automatically pick up on that when you publish the hash to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. All right. Would love to get some feedback. Please leave comments and reach out to me.